The Weaver poets screeved a lot of their poetry in Scots, and many believe it was every bit as good as Robbie Burns. We're going back in time now to the 1800s, where the work of the weavers was recited in tune lands throughout Ulster, and what become known as reading houses.
The one that whistled in the wa, where came it frae a stream, that did sae wildly pipe and blaw, sae clearly and sae keen. A spirit's voice it seemed, or was, among the midnight storm, that kept me lang in listening pause, wi' fancy waxing warm, and sweetly mournful was to hear.
The reading houses were around in the early 19th century, sort of 1820s, 30s, where people were coming together to read poetry. It was a night out, and people got dressed up in their Sunday best to come along and just to generally talk and have a good discussion and a good debate. So they would have read local poets that they would have known.
Before I brocht it for the tune, it cost me nearly half a croon.
Very much the poets that were writing in the Ulster Scots vernacular.
At every party it was done throughout Dunclug.
A lot of these people that would have attended the reading houses probably would have been weavers as opposed to farmers, simply because the weavers probably earned a little bit more than the farmers, and therefore this gave them the opportunity for leisure time. And also as well, a lot of these weavers would have had books on their looms, you know, so they would have been reading while they were weaving. The poets, all of them didn't necessarily write all the time in Ulster Scots. At times they wrote in English as well, but they certainly turned to Ulster Scots at times because that was the local way.
Robert Huddleston, the Lammas Fair. The dissonant ship on speeding rail, the widening lock she's braving. See kerchiefs streaming in the gale, alas to you they're waving.
With Robert Huddleston, he was born in County Down. He is one of the most respected Ulster Scots poets. We think about him really in terms similar to Orr or Thompson. You know, he's right up there with the best.
She for the Atlantic steers, the black heads now her hidden. Though mist and hills the gaze obscures, yet lingering friends they're bidden. Fu sad that day.
Often he is accused of being an imitator of Burns. Yes, he uses the Scots idiom very much, and he does it very well, but he considers himself to be an Irish poet. And he says that the language that he uses is the language that nature brought him to his door. That's in his own words. And I love that idea because, again, it comes back to the idea that often people talk about in terms of Ulster Scots. You know, this isn't something that people set out to write in a particular style or a particular language. This was the language of the everyday people, and that's the point Huddleston makes there. Nature brought this language to his door. He grew up with this language. People around the area spoke that way.
But what's their grief to theirs dear care? The da's amast now sunner was left behind her broken mere to mourn through life and wonder their loss yon day.
Often there's this sort of criticism at times, I think, of these poets, that they were mere sort of imitators of Burns. And certainly many of them respected Burns, but they weren't setting out to copy. These Ulster poets were writing in a shared vernacular with the Scots poets. They were not mere imitators of Burns.
And brought us o'er for Canty upon a small Castilian tide, the Italic, Homer, Dante.
And we'll hear more for the reading house on next week's programme.